welcome to the Taking L's podcast.
What it do?
Hope you're having a great day, night, lunchtime, whenever
Morning,
you listen to the podcast.
Afternoon. If you're on the toilet taking a poop right now, which is where I listen to most of my podcasts.
Wow, getting real personal.
Welcome. My two favorite places to listen to podcasts, I actually have three. One, on the toilet. Two, in the shower. Three, while I'm working at my desk.
Wow, my favorite place is in the car.
Well, look at that.
What do you know?
I don't drive, so.
If you haven't joined us before, we're so glad you're here. I'm Dillon. This is Braylon. We like to laugh on this podcast. We like to talk about life. We like to believe that every single one of us has a leader that lives inside of us, just ready to come out.
And to take one quick second, just in case you need to know this today, there's a leader inside of you. You have the potential to be an awesome leader, not down the road, but literally today. And Absolutely. There's more people that are looking to you as a leader than you ever think will or are even currently. And so we just want to encourage you literally in this moment that there's a leader inside of you and step up to the plate and lead.
Absolutely. And this podcast specifically, we're going to talk a bit about leadership. The title of this podcast is Caught in a Current. So
Love it.
For our segment, if you're new to this podcast, we do a segment to start, just to get some laughs, a little conversation going. We are going to do a Would You Rather, and we're each going to give each other two scenarios that you are going to be stuck in. So Would you rather be stuck in option A or option B?
Yep.
So, Bray, do you want to get us started?
Yeah, this segment is called Stuck In.
Stuck in.
Yeah, I just came up with that.
That's great.
Yep. Okay, here we go. Would you rather be stuck in a kindergarten classroom for a month?
Ooh.
Or a nursing home for a month? Big dichotomy here.
Yeah. I think I would take the nursing home.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a conversationalist. No, people in nursing home would probably just love to talk and sit around, have some coffee, have a drink, just share some stories.
So you're down to eat nursing home food for a month?
I mean, it's probably better than animal crackers. Nursing homes, bro, some of them aren't too bad. My wife's grandma is in a nursing home.
Okay.
And it's low-key lit. They have a good time, got some good food.
Okay.
We were there on like her first day moving in, and there was this woman. She's like, "Hey, I'm Jan. Just wanted you to know I'm here to have fun and get you drunk." And I was like, "Oh, what?"
So you just want to go for Jan is what you're saying.
No, I was just shocked.
Sicko.
I was just thinking it was going to be like this depressing environment. And here comes Jan with a big smile and a good time. And I was like, dude, shout out to Maddie's grandma. Is about to have a party in here.
I remember going to the nursing home my grandpa was in years and years and years ago. And his roommate, we got there. My grandpa was like, "Oh, yeah, roommate died today." I was like, "Oh." And the next time we went, this was a coincidence. But the next time he went, his like new roommate or the person across the hallway also died.
Oh no.
So just in my head, people in nursing homes, it's just a constant like rotating door of death.
Oh gosh. Welcome to the Taking L's podcast, where we talk about nursing homes and death.
So you'd rather do a nursing home over a kindergarten class?
I've coached kindergartners at a church camp for 3 days for about 5 hours total each day.
That was enough.
At the end of 3 days, man, I booked a trip to Cabo. I was like, I need a vacation from this.
I also,
it was fun, but
this is mean what I'm going to say, but I feel like nursing homes kind of have a smell to them, and I'm sensitive to smells, and that kind of freaks me out. Kindergartners are just sticky. They constantly feel like they have bathed in syrup. Your turn.
Okay. Would you be rather?
Yeah, say that again.
Would you rather be stuck in a country where you do not know the language, or in a small town with 50 people or less?
Forever?
Yes.
Can I pick the country? Like, is it a dope country that I don't know the language?
Yeah, sure.
Give me that, because eventually I'll learn.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking.
Yep.
I think you'll pick it up eventually.
A small town with that. Yeah. Small towns drive me absolutely nuts.
It sounds like a movie that is scary.
Yeah. It sounds like Get Out too.
Yeah, it's good. Okay.
Okay, would you rather be stuck in an Applebee's happy hour forever,
to me, that's not stuck. But keep going. You don't even need to. You don't even need to continue.
Or a McDonald's play place.
You basically just said, would you be rather stuck in a good time or stuck in germ hell? I'll take the good time. Absolutely. The Applebee's happy hour. Like, am I also going to be stuck on the toilet for the next day for about 2 hours? 100%.
For sure. But you can never leave the Applebee's happy hour.
Yeah, my budget would be happy.
True. Endless mozzarella sticks.
Honestly,
To me, when I think of heaven, I actually think of like Applebee's happy hour food.
Like, I'm on the right side of 30 still, and on the right side of 30, you can order a sampler platter as your meal, and I fully embrace that. Like, I'm an appetizer guy. Like, I love appetizers. Love appetizers. Like, once you start touching 31, you can't be eating sampler platters as your main meal.
Says who? Where did this rule just come from?
It says your metabolism. That's what I'm getting at. Like, all of a sudden, they're going to look at you and be like, you're the sampler platter for a meal guy, you know? Yeah. So take advantage of it while you can. Applebee's happy hour.
I'm not allowed to eat dairy because I have a dairy intolerance.
Yeah, bro. You're literally lactose intolerant. You just don't care to admit it.
Yeah, hands down. And because of quarantine, we actually stopped eating dairy altogether.
Dude, good job.
So for a really long time, wasn't eating dairy. So now anytime I eat dairy, it's like it is a nightmare in my home.
Yeah, I actually eat dairy a lot less because my wife is a vegan.
Rumble in the jungle. Down in my tummy, if you know what I mean when I eat dairy.
Dairy doesn't sit well.
No, it doesn't. Okay, go for it.
Next one for you. Would you rather be stuck in an region of the country, something that is or world, whatever, perpetually below freezing, or stuck over 110 degrees?
Give me, I would rather be freezing than the 110 degrees. I was born in Arizona. Arizona gets very hot. Mm-hmm. It's the worst place in the world. It's pointless. It's pointless to walk outside and have your butt crack sweat. Like it's awful. It's hard to breathe.
The amount that like pooping and butt cracks, like you would think we were kindergartners doing this podcast.
Leave me alone. It's hard to breathe. The air's hot. Your lungs get sore. You get in a car. The leather seats literally third degree burn your leg.
That's real.
It's easier to get warm than it is to get cool.
That's
also
true.
In the winter, there's something kind of like romantic about getting warm. Like when you come in from playing in the snow, you have a cold day. It's like, let me get in the blankies. Let me put my sweats on.
Cuddle time for sure happening more in the cold weather than the hot weather.
Yeah, in the hot weather, like, don't you get your sticky body anywhere near me. But also, like, it's just fun to be in sweats, fireplace, all that.
Vibes.
Give me cold over hot all day long.
I think I'm with you. Okay, what's your next one?
Here we go. Would you rather be stuck in a lion cage or be stuck in Shamu's tank?
Oh, man. I'm going to say Shamu's tank. Here's the thing. There are people, there are trainers that have made friends with whales before.
Yep. You obviously haven't watched Blackfish in a while.
I have watched Blackfish, so as I'm saying this in the back of my head, I'm like, there's also some other versions. You don't really hear a lot of stories of people just making friends with lions. And so I just feel like my chance of
Tiger King?
Not for very long.
Where have you been, Tiger King?
Yeah, there was a person in Tiger King that decided I'm good friends with this tiger. I'm gonna put my arm in the cage and just give it a nice little pet, and that person doesn't have an arm anymore.
Yeah, you know what happened in Blackfish? They died.
Well,
Would you rather be alive or have one arm?
Well, it's because the only thing that went in the cage was the arm. If that person would have gone in the cage, they would also.
Touche. I would rather fight a lion than fight a killer whale.
Bro, if you fight a lion, that's not called a fight.
But I have a better chance
That's called
of
getting mauled. You have no chance.
I have a better chance with the lion. What are you? You're going to swim away from Shamu? No, you're not.
Yeah, but yeah.
You're going to clap at it? Here, fishy. No, you're going to die immediately with Shamu. A lion, you have a fighting chance.
I don't think you do.
You do, for sure.
Oh, my God.
You could punch a lion. You're not going to punch Shamu.
Bro, punch a lion and find out what happens.
Yeah, but like I could actually put some type of pain. Give the lion pain. You're not going to hurt a killer whale in any way, shape, or form.
But like a killer whale is not designed to kill you.
Oh yeah, what's in its name? Say its name again.
Technically, the professional name is orca whale.
Okay.
People started calling them killer whales because they're insensitive. But lions are literally designed to murder other animals.
I don't know if I'm allowed to interject on this.
Oh, you're 100% allowed.
One of the primary prey of killer whales are elk.
Yeah.
Or moose or whatever. That's a land animal that goes into the water and it tears them to shreds. Moose are a little bit bigger than us, I think.
Yeah, thank you.
Where the heck does a killer whale live that they could just get to a moose?
Alaska.
Dear Lord.
Canada.
Just popping out and eating moose?
Yes. You realize killer whales are some of the most ferocious animals this world has ever seen.
Okay, whatever. So you just put me in a situation where you go, do you want to die or do you want to die? Okay, cool, Braylon. Awesome. Here's the next one for you.
I just think that you could actually have a fighting chance against a lion. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Cody.
I'm with you on that one. I'm fighting the lion. I'm probably dying, but I'm fighting
For
him.
sure. I'm not saying we're going to whoop up on lion booty, but I am saying you have a fighting chance.
It's like saying, I'm going to choose this fight because I at least can get one punch in. But whatever.
Whatever.
That tangent was way too long. Okay.
Cheers.
Okay, last one for you.
Cheers, babe.
Would you rather be stuck in a big household or just a big house, large mini rooms, square footage, whatever you want to call it, big house, but you eat terrible meals? Or would you rather be in a small house, but you get to eat amazing meals?
Well, since currently I'm in a small house and I eat amazing meals, I'm going to go ahead and pick that one. Also, when you say large house, it makes me think of a plantation, which is very triggering for me as a black man, and I want nothing to do with that. So thanks, racist plantation owner, but I'll go small house with great meals.
You went there yourself. You're terrible. Oh, man. Okay, you got one more?
No, that was it. It's hard to pick a winner for something like that, but I think just off the fact that you picked you'd rather be with a killer whale, I win.
We weren't even doing winners and losers on that.
Yeah, but I didn't think we were going to until you picked that bad of an answer.
Okay, whatever.
That leads us to, speaking of me winning and Dylan losing, that leads us to our L of the week. Doot, doot, doot. My favorite thing is just to kind of make like a sound, and see what Cody can do with it.
Yeah.
L of the week, loss of the week. Really, this is a moment to laugh at ourselves. This is a time where we took an L. Well, a couple weeks ago, I'm closing my notebook now so that I can really focus in on this story.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, we were in San Diego, family vacation. And we're on the beach. And I grew up going to San Diego every summer. I actually feel like I'm a fairly good swimmer. Mm-hmm. I feel very comfortable in the ocean. I have been swimming in the ocean for many years now. My son's name is Ocean, so like
You
course.
get it.
You get it.
Yeah. Can't name
So
your
we're
kid
there.
Ocean if you can't swim in the ocean.
Yeah. I know I'm kind of beating some stereotypes being a good swimmer, but I actually enjoy swimming. I enjoy the ocean. I enjoy the waves. Been going there forever. I've been stuck in some currents before in my life. I've even kind of been trained to like learn what happens when you're in a current, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I haven't been to the ocean in at least San Diego, like swimming in the ocean for the past probably 3-4 years, right? So I'm a little rusty, if you will.
Yeah.
So we go. Weather's not the best the week we're there, so I know like I'm not going to be getting in the water every day. There was one day my sisters who were there and their family, they were leaving this day. And so it was like, this is the day we're all going to get in the water. Let's go for it.
Yep.
So we go, and of course, I'm a go-getter by nature.
Mm-hmm.
So I go out ahead, and I swim the farthest out, and I'm just going. And I, again, comfortable in the ocean. And if you can feel the bottom of the ocean, the sand, you're good, right? You can stand up.
Yep.
You're fine.
Yep.
Well, I'm going out, and I can stand probably up to my shoulders.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling good, and I know I'm like, okay, I probably shouldn't go too much farther because I like to still be able to stand. Well, I go because I want to like catch this big wave. And all of a sudden there's this big drop off in the beach. So I go from being able to stand on my shoulders to I can't feel the ground anywhere. Like I even go swim down and I can't feel it, nothing. So I come back up, and so I'm just treading water. I'm like, this is great. We're hanging. I'm going to eventually, the waves will take me back, and I'm going to stand back.
Yeah.
So a few minutes go by, and I'm treading water. And I realize like I'm not getting back to touching the ground. So I'm starting to get a little tired. A big wave comes. I'm like, I'm going to body surf this wave.
For sure.
Back to where I can stand because I'm getting tired of treading water. So a big wave comes, and I'm swimming. I get back from swimming hard, and I realize I have not moved at all. I haven't gone anywhere. I have not even moved like a foot forward.
Yikes.
And I go to touch the ground, still nothing. Next wave comes. I'm like, okay, I got to just swim even harder. Like I haven't been in the ocean in a while.
Yeah.
I'm not even thinking currents, you idiot. So the next wave comes, and I just start going for it, swimming as hard as I can, and I end up going nowhere again. So now I'm exhausted, and I'm still treading water. My feet cannot touch the ground. And I know when you're stuck in a current, you're supposed to swim parallel with the beach.
Yeah.
And the current will eventually like take you out of the current, essentially. So I know I need to swim parallel, but I'm like, I'm so close to where I can stand. All I need to do is just be able to stand, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
But because I was getting so tired of treading. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I just got to get like literally 2 feet forward, and I'll be fine. So I'm like working. And I'm getting exhausted. And my niece, who's out, she's like 21.
Yep.
She's swimming with us. And she's coming out, and I'm like, Kaya, don't come out here anymore. Like, I'm stuck. I was like, I'm struggling. And she's kind of laughing. I'm like, no, like, I need help. And I'm telling her, I'm like, I need help.
Oh, gosh.
Because I'm starting to get tired. I'm like, I'm going to go under.
Yeah.
And she's like laughing at me. And I'm like, I'm serious. Like, I need help. And then she realizes that she's stuck in the current as well. So now we're both stuck. And I'm like, Kai, I need help. And so she kind of turns and tries to call to like my sister who's like far away. Well, as I'm like literally to the point that I'm like, I legitimately think I'm going to drown.
Wow.
Like I'm getting tired. I'm like kind of, my nose is starting to hit the water. Like I'm sinking. And I don't know where my help's going to come from. All of a sudden I see the lifeguard swimming out. And he saw me way before I even knew I was stuck in a current. We weren't even near a lifeguard station, which was probably mistake number one.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's been swimming out to me for a while. He started coming out before I even knew I was in a current. And I see him coming, and another wave comes, and I just go underwater because I was getting so tired. I was like, I'm just going to rest for a second because I'm going to have to swim to this guy. I go underwater, the wave takes me, and eventually I can stand. And I was like, oh my God, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, higher power. Like I'm just like praising everything that's ever existed. And I realized halfway through, like I was stuck in a current. The current would not let me move forward. And the lifeguard noticed that I needed to be saved before I even noticed that I needed to be saved. Because he was able to recognize the patterns of the ocean and see where the currents were.
Yeah.
And that story actually afterwards, I legitimately called, FaceTimed you that day. Because it just got me thinking of like, how many moments in life do we get stuck in currents? What's a current? It's a pattern that's happening that doesn't allow you to progress forward, to make progress, right? So it literally keeps you in your place. And how many moments in life do we find ourselves in patterns or in currents or in situations where no matter how much energy we put into it, no matter what we do, we literally cannot progress or move forward in that moment.
Yeah, and as we go into the conversation, we really wanted to even shape this conversation for us as leaders. We talk about this all the time. We believe there's a leader inside of every single person.
Absolutely.
And so we kind of want to talk about two main areas. How can we lead our way and lead the way for others out of currents? So we specifically want to talk about other people. And how can we also lead the way for our organization, your place of work, in a current as well?
So many of these conversations are actually about us as people progressing forward in life, like living a big life, living an abundant life, having the perspective to realize I need to grow, I need to admit that I'm wrong, I need to acknowledge things, what are my values. That so many of these conversations are actually focused on how do we better ourselves?
Yes.
That we actually wanted to take an episode to have a conversation around, okay, well, actually, how do we help others
Exactly.
grow and progress? And how do we live a life to where we're looking like that lifeguard was? He saw where currents were. So actually, anytime someone was in the area of a current, he was going to swim out regardless of how they were doing in it because he could see they're stuck.
Absolutely. So the first area we'll start with is others. We're going to talk about others. We're going to talk about our organization. So how can we help others that are stuck in a current? Maybe I'll start. When it comes to helping others
Please do.
that are stuck in a current, I think the first thing that we can talk about is something that we even learned from your story is to recognize. Is recognizing when someone is stuck in a current. But then to go from there is to not just recognize, but to also take action. And now taking action, I think, is probably the hardest part. I think if we're all being honest, as leaders, as human beings, as friends, as people, it's actually probably not the hardest thing in the world to recognize that someone is stuck in a holding pattern, that someone has maybe been doing the same thing with their life for a long time, that someone is maybe not breaking free of a bad habit, that someone is not taking the next step that they naturally maybe should be taking at this point in their life. I think if we're all being honest, maybe right now in your mind, you're thinking like, oh, I got someone in my mind that's maybe been stuck in a season for longer than they should have. So recognizing maybe isn't the hardest thing.
There's a lifestyle pattern that they're living that's allowing them to not move forward.
Yeah, exactly. But it's then at that point, taking that step out and going towards that person and saying, I'm going to take action to help this person out. So for you, maybe let's start sending the conversation that direction. What does it look like for us as leaders, for us as good friends, for us as good family members, for us as a good coworker? What does it look like for us as leaders to take that step out and take action towards helping people that are maybe stuck in a quote unquote current?
Yeah, I think to kind of go back to the story, the first step to that is having a care for that life. It gets tricky when we want to do this for everybody.
Yes.
Because that's a person that we don't necessarily want to be around. You know, it's like the kind of, hey, stay in your lane, stay in your business. Like there should be a level of relationship and care there.
That's so good.
In order for you to call out currents.
So to repeat what you're saying like, okay, I'm not going to just do this for everybody.
For sure.
Every person I follow or that follows me on social media, I'm not going to just start DMing people and be like, hey man, I've seen you've just been at that dead end job for 10 years. And this person's like, we haven't talked since high school. Like, don't DM me that. Like, I really like my job.
I actually love that job.
Yeah, totally. So for you, like, where would you maybe gauge a relationship that all of a sudden you have the position to go to someone through care, through relationship, and have that type of conversation?
That's a brilliant question. And I'm going to answer through an analogy, then I would love to hear what you have to think on that. The lifeguard, it's the lifeguard's job to care, right? So I think he saw me stuck, and his response was, I'm going to go get that guy. If you see someone stuck and your response is, I want to tell others that they're stuck, then you don't care enough about that person to get them unstuck.
Wow.
Because what the lifeguard didn't do, he didn't call another lifeguard station and say, hey, there's some dummy little guys out there in the current. He just immediately took action. And I think the level of care that you have with someone is that if you can acknowledge that there's something happening, if there is a pain cycle even, or if there's a lack of progression in their life or in their situation, for you to immediately, quote unquote, or analogy, rip your shirt off and go get in the water to go help that person. If there's hesitation there, I would maybe question if you care enough about that person.
That's great. I would also maybe say this. When it comes to helping someone who's stuck in a holding pattern, season of life, current that they maybe shouldn't be in, I would maybe ask yourself this question. Is the person that I'm helping someone that I would value them helping me if I was in the same situation?
This is awesome. You asked this question just because you had a good answer.
I didn't actually have that.
You asked me so that you could answer it. I'll tell you what, this is great. This is great.
That kind of came to me as you were talking about it, thinking like, why would I have business helping somebody that I maybe wouldn't want them to help me.
Yeah.
'Cause that probably means we don't have the level of relationship to be honest with each other, to be direct with each other. Typically, like, you have to be willing to have tough conversations.
Yep.
And to give real, sometimes critical, sometimes hard feedback to get out of situations like that. 'Cause you got to call things for what it is. Right.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, it's not my place to go to anybody and everybody. And because they're in a current, because I also believe it's not anyone and everybody's place to come to me if I'm in a current. But what I do expect is there are people in my life that I would hope if I'm in a current, they're going to come to me. And in the same way, I think those same people I should be able to recognize and go like, do you know what? Maybe we should have a conversation and go like, okay, what is the next steps to change what this looks like for you so that you're not just stuck and so that this current potentially doesn't take you under.
That was so well said. I like to use even this moment, this conversation, to really have the analogy kind of help teach, if you will.
Absolutely.
I think the best leaders and a leader that I strive to be is a leader that's willing to get wet.
Yep.
And the best kind of way to ask yourself is like, do I want to just stand on the beach and yell, "Hey, you're stuck"?
Yeah, yeah.
Or am I willing to take my shirt off and to get in the water? Like, am I living a life to where compassion moves me enough? Because think, like, was I gonna drown? That lifeguard didn't know, because he was already in motion before I realized I was in need of help.
Yeah.
He was already moving. He saw the fact that I was stuck before I knew I was stuck. So do we want to live a life that we actually are moving, that compassion is moving us?
Yes.
That we are aware for other people to the point that we're willing to get wet, get in the water, and inconvenience ourselves to help someone progress and move forward?
So good.
Or do we just want to kind of do it comfortably and live on the sideline and kind of hope that they make it through so that we can say, oh yeah, we played a part in that, from kind of just being from the beach yelling, "Hey, you're stuck"?
That's so
Is
good.
compassion moving you enough as a leader, whatever atmosphere you're leading, right?
Yeah.
We all play a part in an atmosphere.
Yeah.
Leadership is simply creating an atmosphere for whatever community you're a part of to move forward. That's my favorite definition of leadership. Are you willing for that community to get wet?
That's so good. And one last thing I'll add, and then we'll move to organization.
Love it.
Is the lifeguard was able to go. I love this story. There's so many things you can take away.
So many
from
things,
it, right?
Yeah, I didn't even mention the shark that was chasing me.
It was a killer whale. It's the
She was Shamu. Did you know they eat moose?
was the lifeguard was able to go out in the current to save you because he had the skills necessary to do that.
Ooh,
Right?
That's good.
And
that's really good.
now you kind of mentioned like, oh, someone like, do you really show that you would care if you were on the beach just being like, hey man, like, or hey girl, like, you're drowning. But like, if you're not a lifeguard, you are also going to drown.
For sure.
And sometimes when it comes to helping someone that's in a holding pattern, tough season of life, or a current, we also have to be willing to recognize what we are experts at and what we are not experts at, what we are good at and what we're not good at, what we have experience at and what we don't have experience at. So for us, if we recognize that someone's maybe going through a tough season, but you've never gone through that season yourself, you don't. Maybe what you need to do is go to that friend and let them know, hey, I have compassion for you. I care, but I care so much that I'm going to call out to you and being like, just hold on. You're doing great. You're doing amazing. But I'm going to go get someone else that's actually skilled enough to go get you.
That's awesome.
And so I think
sometimes being the sandy toad cheerleader is a good thing.
Absolutely. And I think that's why
that's awesome.
It's relationship and it's recognizing the situation and to say, do you know what? At least recognize that someone's in a current. And recognize what is it going to take to get that person out. And if you're not the person to get that, if you're not the right person to help, that's totally okay. At the end of the day, it's not about being the person that helps. It's about getting somebody help. It's about them getting what they need, not you filling the role as a leader.
To go back to my story, when I was telling Kaya, my niece, hey, I need help, who was probably 6 feet away from me. If she kept swimming to me, she could not have helped me.
Yes.
So I just love even exactly what you just said. It takes a skill set, because sometimes we can even try to blindly do this.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm even thinking of times in my life where I have tried to help people or be there with people, and then you kind of realize we're stuck in this together, and I actually don't know how to get you through, which is okay. Sometimes it's great just to be there with people and live that lifestyle. But talking about helping people who are in a holding pattern, helping people who are stuck in something. We're not talking just going through a bad day. We're talking a current is something that is stopping your progression, right? Which is something that's happening in life that's not letting you move forward in your journey of life.
Absolutely.
I don't need to meet them where they're at in that and also be stuck in there in that if I don't have the skills to help them move forward.
And I think along with that, there's going to be things people are stuck in that genuinely are dangerous.
Yep.
And I think you got to be aware of, is that something that's dangerous to me?
That's
like
great.
Addictions are real.
Yep.
And some of us have had some of those addictions ourselves.
For sure.
Like, don't put yourself in danger.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I think being aware is
You have a video game addiction that you're getting over. It's great.
No, I don't. Not even close. Oh, I do love playing Call of Duty right now, though.
It's real.
It's a fun time.
Organizations.
Okay, I think a lot of people who listen to this podcast probably have a job and work for some type of organization. And
safe assumption.
Probably safe assumption. If you're 16 years or older, you probably are working some kind of job.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, every organization has an opportunity to growth, to growth, an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to grow. But oftentimes, I think what I've recognized with different jobs that I've had, you've probably recognized this before. I think a lot of people could say this. It's easy for organizations, for businesses, for the company you work for to maybe get stuck in a way, stuck in a trend, and not even recognize it. So how can we as leaders who maybe aren't leading the organization, right? We're not the one in charge. We're not the CEO. We're not some higher up. We maybe aren't even a manager. We're just someone clocking in and clocking out. We're just on a team. How can we even be leaders that contribute to the betterment of an organization?
That's a great question, and I'm so excited for your answer. Go.
I love that you put it back on me.
Yeah, I'm learning that. I'm in the exact example you gave. I'm in it. So I would love to learn from you in this moment.
Well, I think the first thing is this is don't be afraid to speak up.
Yep.
But I would say don't speak up too much. And I think that this is a key. I think opinions are valuable, but nobody wants the person who's just consistently sharing their opinion too much.
Yeah.
Like if every day, if you are on a team, even if you're leading the team, I think in an organization, for you every day to come up with a new topic, a new opinion, a new thing that needs to change, that is exhausting. I'm gonna be honest. As someone who does happen to lead a team, if there's someone coming to me every single day like this needs to change, and then the next day it's like, hey, what about this? And then it's the next day it's like, hey, what about this? Like, I love the ambition. I love it. Like, let's do it all. But what we got to do is we got to focus on one thing at a time, or we're not going to focus on anything at all.
Yeah.
So how can you even help that? How you can help that is go, what is maybe the one thing that I feel like our organization should be prioritizing right now? So I'll talk about one thing right now. A lot of organizations are looking at themselves internally in the area of diversity and inclusion, right?
Hey,
and
go there.
I think that that's amazing. And so what we should do is maybe like keep leaning into that conversation and help see that that is addressed. Help see that there is some solutions in place with that before all of a sudden we just start throwing another big idea and a big thing.
Yeah.
And so if you feel like, man, I'm a part of an organization, I'm a part of a place, and I see opportunity for change.
Or even a team. If you're on a team,
And
that just feels stuck. And we all know when we say stuck, we all know what that feels like. We've all been stuck before. You just feel like no matter how hard you're trying, life just isn't progressing.
Yeah,
You're not getting over that thing. Work isn't happening like you think it's going to happen. Maybe even that relationship that you've been putting a lot of time and effort to, it's just not progressing. Like, we all know what being stuck feels like. So whatever, when we say stuck, whatever that emotion that kind of is tickling your heart right now, like, go there as we're having this conversation.
Absolutely. So as a member of the team, as a member of an organization, I would say that one thing that's hitting you emotionally, Braylon just said, tickling your heart, that one thing, you're probably feeling that for a reason. And I would just say, have a conversation. You know, have a conversation with someone who's maybe your boss, your oversight, maybe even ask another teammate in a healthy way, not a gossipy way, but like, hey, am I the only one feeling like this? Or do you feel like this is something we can maybe improve on and do better? And I'd say just be bold enough. And I think the way that you go about things are important. But just don't be afraid to speak up and say, hey, I think this is an opportunity.
That's great.
Any thoughts on your side? You've actually done something like this recently. and you can maybe talk about it broader so you're not getting into detail. Like, how have you maybe gone about this recently or in the past?
Yeah, I think right now with the situation that we have as a country, talking about diversity and racism like never before, I work for a company that they would actually acknowledge the fact that diversity and inclusion is not a strength of theirs. We just had our first female board member not too long ago, our first female executive leadership team member not too long ago. So this is a newer thing or a weakness that they are just now really intentionally addressing. So obviously with all that's happening right now in our country, the conversation that is happening about racism, anti-racism, Black Lives Matter, all of that, there are opportunities arising within companies all over the place. Well, I have kind of just made the choice to play a part within my company to help this conversation and help us really get out of this current that we're in. We're stuck in a place to where really we're just now realizing we're stuck. And I think that we're realizing it a little too late, to the point that it's like, wait, we're drowning now. And so I have gotten some opportunities to talk with our executive leadership team to play a part in really bringing some enlightenment to diversity and inclusion, the experience of a Black person and things within our company, within our country. And so really playing a part from a very low level in our company to help kind of lead us out of this current of like, hey, we are actually stuck from progressing right now as a company, and we need to do some things and talk about some things in order to progress. So I'm getting a chance to be a part of some of those conversations right now. I'm kind of just waving my hand of saying, hey, I'm willing to talk about it, and I'm willing to help us progress. I have a great as you leave, if you will.
Absolutely.
We always like to give.
Can I say something before that, though?
Of course you can.
You wouldn't say this because you don't like to toot your own horn.
I've known to toot quite a bit.
Only if you eat dairy. Just bringing it all back.
Great callback.
One of the things that you didn't even mention in that story, though, is it's not that they came to you and said, Braylon, could you give us your opinion on this? It's something that you reached out and were willing to be bold enough and say, I'm going to muster up the courage to send a message, to send a Slack, to send an email. I can't remember how you sent it, but to say,
I sent every possible thing, and I kept reaching out until they said, okay, buddy, let's hear it.
And I love that you recognize something within your organization, and it like you said, it tickled your heart enough. It got you enough to go like, this needs to change. We're stuck here. I'm going to be willing to speak out and change and do something. And by the way, both of us work for bigger organizations now. You've been a server at BJ's. I've been a server at the Cheesecake Factory. I've worked at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Can I just say, in all of those jobs, and you would probably say this too, there's been opportunities where I've spoken up and even just contributed to change there. So maybe you're at your first job. Maybe you're listening to this and you're on your 10th job. There's a huge opportunity.
Or your last job, like sad.
I don't know who's on their last job, but hey, shout out.
You don't know.
You never know.
Hey, we always like to give as you leave, something for you to think about and actually apply to your life. These are just kind of meaningless conversations unless we actually take them 100%. And make them a part of our life.
Just listen and go. See you later.
Yeah, so you can either kind of apply this and allow this to enlarge your perspective in your everyday, or you could have just wasted 40 minutes. Either way, hope you enjoyed it, But the as you leave today is, again, kind of going back to the original story. Again, I love that this is a way more leadership-focused episode than we've ever done. I love that. I also love that this is kind of way more of an analogy-driven conversation than we've ever done before. I think that's fun as well. As I was coming back, the lifeguard, he was like, man, are you okay? This cool California dude who's probably like 17.
Like, whoa, are you okay?
Like, whoa, man, you were stuck in a current, bro. You didn't see the rip curl? And he pointed to this giant sign, like this giant flag sign that was literally right in front of where I entered the water that said, caution, strong current. And I saw the sign when we got to the beach, and I just thought the sign meant somewhere out there, there's a current. But literally, this guy put the sign directly to where the current was.
Wow.
And I just was thinking about that story and how graciously he even kind of pointed of like, hey, I put the sign there because the current's there.
Wow.
I think as we help others, we help relationships, we help organizations address and get out of currents. I think it's great to ask ourselves, what are the signs that we're maybe skipping or not even looking at? What signs are we bypassing? Even for ourselves, so like, how do we live a life that we make sure we don't get stuck in these modes or even addictions or lifestyles or perspectives that allow us to stay stagnant, if you will, to allow us to get fatigued.
That's so
I would even ask yourself, if you're tired, like if life is kind of just tiring for you right now, I was getting so tired in that current to the point that I literally thought I have to give up and I'm going to drown.
Don't give up.
If you're at the point in life that you kind of just want to give up on something, maybe you're listening to this and you're kind of just tired with a relationship, I'd maybe ask, are you bypassing some signs right now just because you want to keep going in that relationship or you want to keep going in that thing? If it's fatiguing you, you're probably not progressing. You're probably stuck in a current. And what signs are you bypassing in your life right now, or in your organization or in your relationships that are maybe saying, hey, just a heads up, you're stuck.
That's so good.
And that's what that sign was saying to me. And I just thought it was a broad statement, but it was actually, hey, right here, you're stuck. Let your fatigueness and your tiredness speak to you, and maybe enlarge your perspective to kind of show you, hey, I think right now that thing that you're in that's causing you fatigue, you're stuck.
And what I love about that lifeguard is you didn't get out of the water and he didn't go, hey, you idiot, you should have seen the sign. He was gracious about it.
He was.
If I can encourage everybody, you're probably listening to this podcast thinking that there's something you can be a part of changing. And you're like, I'm going to get off and I'm going to send that email. It's like, let's be gracious with how we do it.
Was that a keyboard or a machine gun? I just did. I meant keyboard.
Counting money. But let's be gracious with how we do it. And I think we can be a part of some amazing leadership moments.
Again, there's a leader inside of you, if you know it or not. Maybe you woke up this morning and you felt like the greatest leader in the world. Or maybe you woke up this morning and the idea of a leader was the farthest thing from your brain. Just know there's an awesome leader inside of you. And you have a part to play in helping either people around you, yourself, or your organization get unstuck from the patterns of life that's stopping them from moving forward. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening.
What it do?